The whole episode of Yaakov Avinu tricking Esav out of his brachas is very difficult to understand. Why did Yitzchak originally want to give the brachas to Esav HaRasha, a wicked individual? Also, just before giving Yaakov the brachas, Yitzchak Avinu said, Re'ei reach b'ni kereach sadeh asher bercha Hashem. See, the scent of my son is the scent of the field that Hashem has blessed. What was it about the heavenly scent of Yaakov's garments that compelled Yitzchak Avinu to decide to bless him despite his doubts? Rashi tells us that when Yaakov walked into the tent, Yitzchak smelled the scent of Gan Eden. But the Medrash Tanchuma takes us a level deeper, teaching that Yaakov Avinu smelled like the Ketores. One of the most unique ingredients in this heavenly collection of spices that produced the scent of paradise was the Chelbenah. This spice actually had a terribly foul odor, but it was included among the 11 ingredients of the Ketores nonetheless. Chazal learned from here that just like the Ketores required Chelbenah, every tefillah requires the participation of Jewish sinners. Now the obvious question is, why? Why did the Ketores include this horrible ingredient, and why does the acceptance of our prayers similarly depend on the presence of Poshei Yisrael? The Tosh Rebbe explains that the ingredients in the Ketores are only one example of a larger pattern that encompasses all of creation. Anything good and holy must contain a parallel in the side of impurity, a counterforce which completes the positive element. For example, the Yetzer Tov is completed by the Yetzer Hara. The Jewish nation is completed by the nations of the world. The illumination of day is completed by the darkness of night. And the revelation of Mashiach's light is completed by the increasing spiritual darkness in the final generation. The reason for this is that the inclusion of these contrarian elements in creation allow for a stark contrast against the elements of holiness, serving as a living example of what life looks like in the absence of Hashem's presence. When we see the lowliness of living in a state of disconnect from Hashem, this inspires us to strive for a deeper connection. And the same holds true for all of our negative desires and the distracting thoughts that plague us throughout the day, particularly during tefillah. Like the Chelbenah, they serve to present a contrast against the lifestyle we are truly yearning to live, to inspire us toward greater effort in our avodas Hashem. Says the tzaddik, Yitzchak originally wanted to give the brachas to Esav because he felt that Yaakov Avinu was completely perfect and had no need for his brachas at all. However, Rivka understood that the completion of one's avodah necessitates the abiding presence of an inner darkness that one must constantly battle. When Yitzchak smelled the scent of the Ketores and reflected on the inclusion of the Chelbenah, he realized that Rivka was right, and that as great as a tzaddik Yaakov was, he needed the brachas as well. May we merit to hold on tight to this idea, to realize that spiritual challenges are normal and even lechatchila, ideal, that they are only there to help us further focus on what we really want and inspire us to put more effort into banishing the darkness within and achieving intimacy with the Master of the world. Wishing all of Am Yisrael a restful, elevated, and meaningful Shabbos.